Hi, Allie. Thank you so much for joining me. I really have been very excited to talk with you because it's been a while, and I know that lots has been going on for you. So,
Yes.
we've got some time to get caught up, and just to catch all of the viewers up, I just wanted to kind of start where I always start with everybody and say, tell us about your life before bariatric surgery.
Oh, life before bariatric surgery. I have never been not overweight. I can remember just my childhood, adolescence, adulthood, always being overweight. I always had to shop in plus size areas, and I didn't understand why I was never the size of my peers. I was always bigger, picked on, bullied, things like that. Never felt pretty or like how I wanted to feel. Um, Everything was just more difficult before bariatric surgery. I think, um, especially since I was in my early 20s and I wanted to feel like I wanted to date. I didn't date. I never had a boyfriend. I was always the, oh, she's pretty for a fat girl. That was what I was told by multiple people.
Yeah.
Oh, she'd be pretty if she was thinner. I was never just pretty. And that was very, very hurtful as a child, as a teen, as a young adult.
Yeah.
So I never felt good enough for anyone. So it really kind of diminished my self confidence. I didn't have any confidence in myself. And like I said, things were much more difficult. You had to make sure that if you were going someplace that you would fit on XYZ. I would have to make sure, okay, can I even sit down here? Is something going to break? Is everything was much more difficult. My body hurt. Uh, I, I mean, just tying your shoes, bending over, doing everyday things was not necessarily painful for me. I think because I was still young, but I just felt like things were in the way. My
Yeah.
body was in the way of itself.
It's an effort. Everything is an effort.
Yes. Yes. Like I said, I'm glad I was young enough. I didn't have any major complications. I didn't have sleep apnea. I didn't develop any chronic illnesses from obesity, but I'm sure I was well on my way of going down that road.
And how old were you when you had bariatric surgery?
I had my first weight loss surgery because I had two. I had the gastric band. I think I was about 23-ish. And then I think I was 32 when I had bypass. So in 21, I think 22 to 21.
Yeah. So when you had the band, um, tell me about that experience with the band. We all know now most people have had it removed or something. Some people are still doing well with it. But I think that that's fairly uncommon. But tell me about your experience with the band.
Yeah. I decided to have the band. I was offered bypass surgery, but my mom actually had the band and to this day is successful with the band.
Yeah.
She still has her band in and has been successful, lost a lot of weight with it, has maintained it for maybe even it was before, so over like maybe 20, I don't even know if it's been 20 years, but over a decade, she's been successful with her surgery. And I saw her successful with her surgery and I wanted weight loss surgery. So I wanted that one as well. I wanted it because it wasn't as invasive and it could be removed and it wasn't going to alter my GI tract. So I went for that surgery. And I mean, initially I lost about 50 pounds. My starting weight was just over 300 for that surgery. That wasn't my highest weight, but they had you lose some weight before you could have surgery. But my surgical weight, my starting weight was like 303. I got down to about 250 with that surgery, stayed around there, and then gained everything back. Um, with that surgery, it just made eating difficult in many ways. There were certain things you just couldn't even stomach, for a better term.
Yeah.
And even like healthy foods too were hard to kind of, they say, go down. But yeah, it was very difficult, and I had gained the weight back, and then I was still just having trouble eating in general. And I finally said, well, I mean, it's not working for me, and I'm just having a difficulty eating even healthy things. So I want to get this taken out, and I want to have bypass. And my surgeon agreed, and then we did the bypass.
So how much time between the lap and the bypass?
About a decade, I would say.
Oh, it was. Okay. So you gave it a good go.
I would say, yeah, because it was right before I had graduated college in I graduated in 2013. So 2012, and then 2021, I had the bypass. So I got,
Okay. So interesting. And when you had the band and you made the decision to have bypass, number one, how did you decide bypass versus sleeve?
they didn't really even give me sleeve as an option.
Oh,
They
so
really talk about that. I think I wasn't familiar with the sleeve, and I just told them I wanted bypass, and they said okay.
yeah.
So I had only really ever heard of, I mean, and even me as a medical professional, I should know these things, especially being a bypass or a bariatric patient. I should know these things, but I didn't really look into it that much, and just said, I want this thing out of me. I want gastric bypass. And they said, okay, that's very reasonable. So we can do that for you. And they didn't even really mention, I think they might have talked about the sleeve, but they said that the bypass would be more effective in the long term.
Yeah.
And I wanted something more effective. Go big or go home after.
Right.
We're gonna
Just do this
cut me
one time. Yeah. Yeah.
up.
Did you and you had it done in the States, right? Both
Yep,
surgeries?
everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, so then life after the bypass, how was that different? How was that journey different than your band? And I guess I'm thinking, um, were there any like expectations or surprises in how they were different?
I don't really remember too much from the band, but I know that after the bypass, things, I mean, just in general, it was more invasive surgery, so it was painful for a long time. Uh, but in terms of eating, I knew what I was getting myself into because I had had surgery like this before, and I'm not a person that pushes back against what I'm told in terms of what I should and shouldn't do. Like, don't, you're doing liquids, and I'm like, I'm doing liquid. And so I had no really fight back of that. So I stuck pretty good to the regimen. But I did remember when I went out one time post surgery, I would say maybe a month or so after, maybe not that long, a couple weeks. And I tried to have like a little bite of a fried pickle, like just a little worse. I will never forget the pain from having something fried after surgery. And it is the worst, most sick feeling you will have. I mean, I had to go home after I said we need to leave the restaurant. I have to go home. I had to sit down, lay down, and have popsicles and just lay there for like an hour and a half 2 hours for me to feel okay again. And to this day, I have issues with sweets still. I feel very, very sick if I have like I would never have a piece of cake, like a full size piece of cake. I cannot have that. There are things that I know that I can't have. Yes. Today did I have chips? You better believe I had chips today. Did I have some Hershey Kisses? Yeah, I had some Hershey Kisses. But I have learned my limits of what I can and can't have
Yeah.
in the amounts, and I still get hypoglycemic symptoms after a couple of hours after I have sweets. I don't know if people know the mechanisms of that, but I can go into that a little bit if you want to. But yes, very different feelings with the two surgeries because there's nothing really augmenting your body in terms of what you can eat with the bypass, or I'm sorry, with the band. It's more so the mechanistically,
Yeah.
it's a little bit more difficult, but you can still have things with
Yeah.
that surgery.
Yeah. And I think it's actually different even between the sleeve and the bypass. But then there's also the added layer of just bodies are different. And some
Right.
people have reactions with the sleeve and others don't. And some people don't have that with the bypass either. So it's all just a very broad guideline. And we have to learn like how our own body works and reacts. Um, I do think so. So you had the bypass in 23, you said?
I think it was 21. Bypass in
21.
20.
Okay. 21. So you're like 4 years out.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, and I do think that it would actually be a good refresher for all of us to hear about hypoglycemia and how that works, whether you've had bariatric surgery or not. Our bodies do still process that the same.
Yeah. So I first had my, I guess you could say, episode. Um, and I didn't actually check my blood sugar. Uh, and I didn't check my blood sugar, but I realized that's probably what was happening. And it will still occasionally happen to me if I eat sweets. Um, I'm sure it happened to me the other day, actually, that I felt hypoglycemic. So essentially what happens is someone who doesn't have diabetes. So I do not have diabetes. I'm not pre-diabetic, knock on wood. And what happens and I don't know exactly the mechanism with the bypass surgery and how it's exactly associated, but I can kind of give a general overview. So when you intake sugar into your body, and it gets into your bloodstream, if you have regular functioning insulin receptors in your body, which I assume I do. So, and these are fast sugars. So these are your candies, your sweets, what we consider sweets,
Yeah.
chocolate,
Yeah.
carbohydrates, those types of things. So if you have a carb heavy or sugar heavy meal, not enough protein involved, you're dumping all this sugar into your bloodstream. And what's happening is your insulin is then taking it into your cells and taking it out because it's like, oh crap, I have too much sugar. I need to take this out of my blood. So the insulin takes the sugar into the cells. So then you have not a lot of sugar in your blood. And because that happens so fast and you're putting so much sugar in and then you're taking it away pretty quickly,
Mhm.
it's like has a big change. So it's a big wave of bunch of sugar and then
Yeah.
I have not a lot. So you get symptoms of hypoglycemia. And that it doesn't necessarily mean that your blood sugar is low, but it could just be the shifting of the blood sugar going in it, like taking itself into the cells that gives you symptoms of hypoglycemia. And like I said, I haven't actually tested to see if I have hypoglycemia, so like a low blood sugar amount, or if it's just like I said, I went up high and then I came down came down fast. for me, that happened the first time I'll never forget it. I was in the grocery store. Okay. So, and this happens about an hour or 2 hours after you have the sweet item or the high, quick carb item. So let's say I had a bunch of chocolate. And about an hour and a half, 2 hours later is when I would have those symptoms. So my first time this ever happened to me, I was in the grocery store and I'm walking in there and I get hot. So one of the symptoms is you're like, oh, I got really hot all of a sudden. And then you start getting dizzy. So I felt very disoriented. I was hot. I was dizzy. I was very disoriented. And I wanted something like fruit. I needed fruit. And I'm in the grocery store. And I was with my ex at the time. Now my ex. And I was just eating grapes in the grocery store. I'm like, it's like, what are you doing? I'm like, go get me I need water. And I can't help this right now. Don't judge.
I am not in control of myself.
I have to do this. He was so confused. I was too. I didn't know what was going on. I just know that that's what my body needed at that moment was water and grapes. Essentially, you're taking in more sugar. But in this instance, I didn't know it was low blood sugar. I figured it out probably afterwards. To this day, I fix these symptoms with fruit because it's a slower carbohydrate to break down. So it's a better sugar than like a quick sugar.
Yeah.
So to this day, I fix this issue by eating 1 or 2 apples is what I do when this happens. And at that time, grapes were accessible. But yes, to this day, I still do get hypoglycemic feelings because I'm not perfect and I can't pretend to be. And sometimes I go into eating something knowing that I will need to have my emergency app on hand.
Yeah. And, we do have to just weigh the pros and cons, but make the decision knowing, it's an educated decision and you're taking full, responsibility for it. But I think it's really worth clarifying that what I heard you say is that essentially refined like cane sugar has the same effect on our body as like pasta or bread or
I believe because they
sugars.
Our breakdown faster.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it has the same effect on our body, on our insulin response, on how our body processes, and the fact that those simple carbohydrates, those pastas and breads and that has become sugar. Like they convert to sugar. So, it's the same thing. I just think that that's really important, that it's hard for some people to really grasp that this Reese's peanut butter cup has the same effect as a sandwich,
Right.
With white bread or whatever. So very, very useful information. So then, 4 years later, you're at least aware, right? And making the decisions that you need to. So other than food, there's lots of other things in our lives that are affected by bariatric surgery. If I remember right, you are a gym goer. Have you always been?
I haven't. I actually just canceled my gym membership. So thanks for bringing that up, DeDe.
Sorry about that.
I want to start working out more at home. My gym is farther. I moved, so my gym is not convenient for me anymore.
Yeah.
But I was maybe a gym goer pre-bypass surgery. I never felt embarrassed going to the gym, even when I was overweight. That's one thing about myself is I was never ashamed to go and work out. I mean, sure, people was probably thinking, oh, they're probably looking at this fat girl working out, but I didn't care. I
Yeah.
I still went to the gym. Was I really active? No. Am I really active now? No. But I know that I can do more things now. I enjoy going to the gym more now than I used to. I was always afraid to do certain things at the gym because I didn't want to try and fail and be that fat girl failing using equipment and being looked at.
Yeah.
So there were things I was afraid to try that I tried after I lost weight, and I found that I like them, and I actually want to buy one of those things for my house, which is the thing where you hold yourself up and you lift your feet and it works your abs.
Oh,
Um,
yes. Yes.
and then you lift your feet up, and I don't know why that is so fun for me to do, but I really enjoy doing that one. Um, so I might end up buying one of those, and I can actually hang myself. Like I can hold it, hang my body. Uh, and if I were to have that thing at home, it's the same equipment, so I could
Yeah.
maybe eventually myself up.
And that's the first step. I mean, someday I would love to be able to do one pull up.
I I want to be able to do push up. Like I want to be able to do a real push up.
Yeah.
I I think for me, what I cheat and I do my push-ups on my stairs. So one thing that I like to do whenever I go up a flight of stairs, like at my house, I want to do 10 push-ups on the stairs because I mean you're at what like a 45-degree angle at that point.
Yeah.
And it feels so empowering that I can do those 45-degree angle push-ups.
I mean, whatever it takes. And I think especially when it's something funny to you, like I did the same thing when at one point I was seriously in the gym all the time, every day, but I was doing weights every other. And I got to a point where I was really into balance. And so
Oh,
I got on a balance ball and I would do my curls and my upper body stuff with the dumbbells while balancing on my knees on the and I mean there was lots of falling off and looking ridiculous. And I was like, I don't know, but I hope you're here to see when I don't fall off. And
right.
I mean, you just kind of have to get to the point where you're okay being silly. And but I think that when you make a game out of it and you're having fun, that is one of those conditions that actually support forming new habits is when you have a positive reaction or a positive emotion after it, and it releases those, positive hormones that reinforce the behavior. So it's another little tip for, building new habits is make sure that what you're doing you actually enjoy and have a little party after you do it. Yay, I just did some push-ups on the stairs. I just didn't fall off the ball. Whatever the thing is. It's I think that we've gotten into such a mindset in our culture where everything has to be a grind. You have to, somehow hate it and get through it. And that's where the magic really happens. And it's such BS. It's not true. And in fact, the more fun you can have doing all the things, the better.
Yeah. And and working out doesn't have to be working out. You know, that's something too. I think that people think that the only way to get in shape is to go to the gym. And that's you don't have to go to the gym to work out. You don't have to go to the gym to feel fit. I mean, you can just take a walk. You can lift things up in your house and put them down. I mean, I don't you got kids. I don't throw them up in the air. I don't know what we'll do with children.
Body
But
weight exercises alone, just, hoisting my own body around, whether it's push-ups or squats or whatever, there's so many options. I actually enjoy going to the gym, but I go through seasons. And sometimes I just really want to be outside when it's nice and go for a walk. And sometimes I really want to go in and lift something heavy. And I mean, and getting to be okay with all of that and kind of rolling with it and going with what feels like this is what I'm called to do. So I totally agree that you don't have to go, to the gym every time.
yeah, and that's one of the things that I think people are, if they're overweight, they're afraid to go to the gym. And that it can be intimidating. The gym can be very, very intimidating. And I'm just lucky I never felt intimidated. I never felt stared at or picked on or anything while I went to the gym. But I can see how if you already have anxiety or are very self-conscious, then that can be a very scary thing to do. And I think there's classes that people can go to as well. I mean, there's plenty of, at least in the city that I live in, there's a lot of different kinds of classes. And there's even classes that are just for women. But there's all kinds of things that people can try. I mean, there's a boxing gym that I've gone to here where you just buy a day thing and it's an hour long class. And I mean, you're going to get your butt kicked for that hour.
Yeah.
And you're going for it. But those kinds of skills that you learn going to those classes, you can take that and apply that at home too. And do little exercises. I mean, there are some moves that I thought I could do, and I tried them, and my body just does not move that way. I thought I could do something. It was kind of like a mountain climber. I can't do those. I can't do them for some reason. They look super easy, but I think you just learn what your body can do and give yourself that positive like try things that you don't think you can do. I think is very important because then you do try and you're like, oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And I kind of liked it. Like the ab thing with me with the lifting up your feet on that. Terrified. I was terrified to even try it. So I did it for 20 years. And then I tried it and I loved it. So I think we just need to go out and do the things and give it a shot. And who cares if you fall off the ball? You're still trying. You're having a good time. No one is going to remember if you fall off the damn ball because they're already worried about themselves and how they look at the gym. So everyone else is. One thing I try to tell people when they feel self-conscious is no one cares. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Yeah.
I mean it as everyone else is worried about themselves and how people are looking at them, that they're not thinking about, oh, you fell off the ball. No one, you're not their narrative. You're worried about yourself and you don't have to worry about what someone else sees or they're going to forget in 2 seconds. You're going to remember that for 30 years, but that person's going to forget it in 2 seconds.
So true.
And one thing that I tell people, not even about working out, but just in general, when I talk to friends or anyone, is everyone else is so wrapped up in their own minds that they don't care about what you're doing in a nice way, obviously, not that terrible.
Yeah.
But they're worried about themselves and how they.
For sure. I also noticed when I was going to the gym that what I tended to notice was not, oh, look at that fat girl over there trying to whatever. But I noticed, and probably this, I think it always says more about the viewer and the judger. And when I was doing the judging, what I was seeing was not so much what they were doing, but how they felt about themselves while doing it. Like you can see the girl that walks through the gym feeling intimidated. you see that feeling, that caution that I don't belong here, versus the woman who walks in and is like, I'm doing this. I'm going to love it. And I'm going to have me a good time. And I got my headphones in and I'm going to dance my way along on the treadmill, whatever the thing is. I tended to notice more the air of confidence or the lack of it, more than, are they using the elliptical correctly, or are they, do they have the right form or whatever. And it is such a good feeling to see someone in there rocking it in whatever shape they're in, whatever condition their body is in. It's just so much more fun when you're having fun and watching somebody else have fun also in whatever body they're in. Yeah.
You can see it when someone's walking around. I mean, even just in everyday life, you can tell.
Yes.
I mean, even if you don't have self-confidence, but just with the way that you carry yourself, I probably come off as a confident person. I actually don't have much confidence. I've learned to, I don't think that I fake my confidence, but I just learned to be comfortable with myself. And maybe that's confidence. I don't know. But I think it does change how people see you when you are more, I mean, I don't know what percentage of like attractiveness, when someone's more confident, they're like X amount of times more attractive to people.
Sure.
When it could be the same person, but if they're looking like timid and shy, that's not as attractive as someone who has a presence about themselves.
For sure.
And that resonates with how you feel mentally. If you
Absolutely.
and really present yourself, it does wonders for you mentally. And if you're kind of just, because what we learned during FMCA is emotions and feelings do affect how you are. What is, like, I'm trying to think, like, how your thoughts are actually who you are. Your thoughts are who you are.
Yes.
And we can change those thoughts.
Yes.
We have the power. Happiness is a thought. Happiness is a feeling, and we have the ability to change our feelings.
Yeah. And it is, it's a practice also. I mean, I know that people who tend to be very negative, it's really more of a habit. And also people who are positive, it's very much a habit. And, in both camps, it's about noticing, right? Noticing, oh, I'm feeling pretty cranky about that person, or I'm judgy about that person I'm watching, or whatever. And to start by just noticing what that initial reaction is, what that thought is, and then choosing something different. What can I do right now in this moment? What's another way to spin this, and make it positive, and think, hooray for her to be in here in the gym at all, or hooray for, people trying to do the best that they can, and finding the good. A friend of mine says, look for the good and you find it, but look for the good. And it's not going to be all the time, but it is a practice, and it does get easier to do.
Right?
What's that?
Just like with anything, practice, it makes things easy.
For sure.
Perfect. We'll never stay perfect, but practice does make.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to, you started talking about like the emotional side of things, and I do want to go into that, but I wanted to just also, for people who've been watching the Successful Maintainer series, the first woman that I spoke with, Samantha, she was one, like you said, to just try new things. And she would have never thought that she would be, taking MMA classes. But after her surgery, she thought she was going to a jujitsu class, I think, with her son. And so anyway, she started taking MMA classes and she absolutely loves it. She's like, I would have never thought. So it's just, trying. You don't have to sign up for a year. You don't have to make any kind of big commitments. Just go try it. Take a dance class, whatever. And then another person that we interviewed was Beth, and she she is such a beautiful person, and she was very intimidated to go to the gym, and so she stayed home and did was it called Beachbody, the whole Beachbody program. And I don't know if they still have those, but anyway, there's tons of stuff on TV, and so you can do programs like that right in your home too. But yeah, to just whatever you do, try new stuff and have fun with it, whatever you do. So
Yep.
agreed.
I think that's
So many options. So a lot of the people that I've interviewed have talked about the emotional journey after surgery and how, surgery doesn't do anything to prepare you for that except take away your favorite coping tool. And so I wanted to just find out about your emotional journey and what kinds of challenges you've faced and how you've faced them.
Yeah, I would say that I was more of a bored eater, and an overeater, very much so an overeater. I I noticed that literally every single, there hasn't been one day that goes by that I haven't thought, holy crap, I used to eat so much more, so much more. I still amaze myself when I go to grab food and then I'm eating it and then I stop because I just can't anymore. I can't eat anymore. And I don't want to. I mean, there's times where I'll stop eating. Could I shove more food in my face? Sure, sure, could. Will be uncomfortable. I know I'll be uncomfortable. So I have learned to know how much ish to kind of eat, but the emotional part of it, yes, I have noticed that you have to occupy yourself in other ways. And thank God for cell phones and scrolling through TikTok because it helps. I know that sounds really crappy, but it does help when you don't know what to do with yourself at times. And you have to give yourself another habit because eating is a habit, a hobby, I guess you could even say, an addiction. Yeah, sure.
For sure.
And I had to give myself something else. I mean, same with addicts. I mean, you change your addiction to something else. And I guess maybe me is looking through my phone, scrolling through my phone, but it's better than eating. It's better than mindlessly eating. I
Yeah.
mean, consuming social media, that's a whole other conversation.
Exactly.
But it's, I am a very self-aware person. And I can see how I have these epiphanies once in a while. And I had said to myself one time, oh my gosh, I feel really bad for people who have such an emotional connection to food and that's taken away from them. I mean, think about the people that have bypass surgery. These are extremely overweight people. These are people whose coping mechanism, comfort, sometimes their only friend is food. And you take that away. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it can be cold
And I
turkey.
don't,
If you don't practice ahead of time how to eat, it can be cold turkey and you're taking away the one thing. But the thing is you're not taking it away because it's still there. You could still go to the store. You could choose to eat the thing, and that thing is going to hurt you so bad.
yeah.
So that's it. I can see how for many people, depression
Hmm. Yeah.
will.
Well, I also think that the bariatric programs, here or abroad, wherever, I don't think any of them prepare people enough. In fact, I'm not sure that it's possible
I
to
don't.
to prepare people beforehand. And we don't have a very good catchment system for that after the fact. What happens is, people start to regain or whatever, life happens, and they lose their habits again, if they even had them, and that it it just is this shame cycle where people feel like a failure. They're like, yep, I failed at this too. And that is, it's so wrong. It's so wrong because we just didn't have the tools to fix our thinking. And our whole country has really crappy mental health beliefs and support and resources. So we've created this new community of people that need it, and it's not there. And so, I mean, that's really what most of my clients end up wanting to process is their brain around it.
And I think one thing we all have to work on too is accepting that we can't have everything that we want when we want to eat it. We can't.
You shut your mouth, Ellie.
You can't always have that one thing that you want, and
It's so true.
that's okay. We're gonna live. You'll live.
Yeah.
I think kind of what it comes down to is, sure, would I love to go and eat junk food all the time? Actually, no, I'm not. I don't. But you know what I'm getting at. Of course, I would love to go and sit and eat crap food, but it doesn't make me feel good.
No.
And did it ever make me feel good?
Right. Right.
It fixed the problem. Why am I bored? Why am I emotionally eating? I'm not addressing the real problems that I have because I don't know how to process emotions.
Yeah.
And we weren't taught really how to, I don't know about you, but I was not ever taught how to process emotions. So I ate and ate and ate and ate until I was just like my parents, overweight.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's not uncommon. I do. So that journey for you, thank goodness that you are so self-aware and can sort of process and figure things out. Um, and and you know, um, and stay healthy and at peace and strong and capable and all of those things at the same time. So where are you now? What are your goals, challenges, whatever right now?
I would say my challenges are, I think, because I recently moved. So for me, it is having meal plans and having things. But that's all. DeDe, who am I kidding? That's always been my problem. It's not a new problem. For me, that's my excuse right now is that I moved. It has always been my problem. It is
a huge problem for everybody. It really is. It really is.
been my problem. It's still my problem. Maybe it won't be my problem in the future, but I have a good amount of go-to recipes and things that honestly are key for me because, I mean, sure, I sound awful. I had chips today and candy, and yesterday I had a sandwich from the
cafeteria.
I mean, But I would say in general, I have my go-to recipes of things that I know that I can make easy. I have stuff to make tacos tonight. I can eat it. I don't like to spend a lot of time cooking. It's not, I don't not like cooking. I don't have time. I have things to do, like avoid housework to do. So I have plenty of other things I could be doing.
Yeah.
So yes, I think that's my current struggle, has always been my struggle, will constantly be my struggle, is having things easy and quick for me to eat. But I do think having 5 things that you can easily just say, I don't know what to make. Okay, you know what I'm going to make? I'm going to make sloppy Joe. For me, sloppy Joe isn't as awful as it sounds.
No,
For me,
I know exactly what, yes, no, it's great. It's just ground beef with, sauce. Great.
right. And I use 1 can of sauce as opposed to 2 for the 2 pounds. And I don't just put meat. I use my little pulse blender and I put a whole bag
All
of
the
carrots,
veggies. Yeah.
all the vegetables in there, peppers, cut up all the peppers, throw it in there. So I have this meat, almost meat goulashy thing
Yeah.
that I love. And I don't eat the bun. I just eat it in a bowl with some cheese.
Yeah.
And there I go. And like I said, tacos, taco salad. That's another easy thing. I will do my protein pasta and make like a goulash or something. Throw shrimp in there,
Yeah.
I'm huge into ground beef. So I think that's my struggle is what am I going to eat? But having a few key recipes, I think has made a big difference
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. And I'm I'm really good about making enough for a small army when I make
Yeah.
something and then freezing, or I'm also really good with eating the same thing every single day. I don't get bored with food. Um, so I can eat the same thing, but then I can, freeze stuff for later and then I've got options. But I agree, spending time in the kitchen when I could be outside moving my body, or it's like this, oh, I'll never forget. I talked to a behaviorist one time. I was really struggling with balancing all of the things
Mhm.
that I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be eating right. I'm supposed to be moving and I'm supposed to keep my full-time job and I'm supposed to, you know, keep my community and my family and make time for them. And I'm like, I don't know how to balance all of it. And she said, balance is BS. There is no such thing. There's no such thing as balance. And the thing that I really appreciated was she said, it's our striving for it that gets us as close as we're going to be. So
Yeah.
there's going to be times when I spend more time with my family than I do in the kitchen, or I spend more time, out on walks or at the gym or whatever than in the kitchen, or I spend more time in the kitchen than I do whatever that it's this constant, just so that something doesn't get too far out of, balance for too long. And then just, easing things back into place as we can. And that seems actually more doable. I loved the idea of balance, and then that's where I stay for the rest of my days. That's just not even real.
Not real life.
It's not. So, yeah, balance. It's a elusive critter, but it's the striving for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that, DD too, um, here's the coach in me coming out.
Let's hear it.
You're not supposed to be doing anything. There's nothing that you'd need to. I'm supposed to be doing this. Is
Right.
we're putting that on ourselves.
Yeah.
That is making things up, and we're making a narrative of I need to be doing these things. Otherwise, it's not good.
Yeah.
That's just what we've been told that we need to be doing. We need to be maintaining this, all these things. There's nothing we actually, I mean, I think the one thing is keeping the job. That's pretty important. So I would say that's something you probably need to do. But those other things, at least for me, when I am supposed to be doing something, I get overwhelmed and then I do nothing.
Yes.
That's about
Yes.
it.
So
Yeah.
true.
I can be drinking water. I'm supposed to be going out for a walk. I'm supposed to be packing my lunch. I'm supposed to be taking all my supplements. I get overwhelmed and then I do nothing. I mean, and honestly, right now, what I'm working on and getting back into, taking my supplements.
Mm,
These are all baby steps. And
yes,
we can bandwagon, we can get right back on. And that's okay. To keep
absolutely.
doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. There is no, so I had a bariatric surgeon on, my bariatric surgeon actually, and bless his heart, he's such a beautiful man. And he said, there is no failure because it's never the end. Like there's always more options, more support, more I mean, there's other surgeries, there's so many other things to try. And again, it's a try. It's a trial and error for all of it. But at no point is it stopping because I have failed and I'm done. That isn't necessary. But I do agree with you that we set ourselves up for it for sure. And I listened to a woman, I went to a lecture last night and she was talking about how every yes is a no to something else. And every no is a yes to something else. If I
Yeah.
say no, I'm not coming over for family dinner tonight, and I'm saying yes to my couch because I've had a hell of a week and I need rest. So,
Yes.
yeses and nos to both things. It's just being really mindful and intentional about those choices. What am I saying yes to? And therefore, what am I saying no to? And what am I saying, what am I setting myself up for? And is it really in my best interest? Is it in the interest of my values and what I really want long term? So all of it is really our own choices. You're you're so right. Yeah. Um, so you just moved and you're starting to take your supplements again. And what kind of big goals do you have? I mean, you've been, you know, on this bariatric journey for 4 years now. What's next for Allie?
Next for me is I would just like to have a decent routine. I know that sounds so lame and elementary, but I would like to have a routine of, getting up, doing something with my body, having my lunch ready to go to work and do the things. I can't imagine me ever having a day where I did all the things.
Yeah,
And once I might never get there. I'm not going to stop trying. I'm
right.
not going to stop trying. I didn't get to where I'm at in my life by stopping and giving up. I have not gotten there. I have I have never given up and I will never give up because at the end of the day, like I'm the one rooting for me. I'm my own cheerleader and I know I can do the damn thing.
Yeah,
And what that's getting up and doing a few sit-ups in my living room, I feel so much better. I do like 10 sit-ups or just do some leg lifts. And I'm like, you know what? I did a workout this morning and I feel dang good about it. And then I'm like, I'm gonna go take those supplements in the cupboard. And then I'm gonna take my packed lunch to work. And then I'm gonna drink water throughout the day. If I could do that on a regular basis, you know how good I would feel? Man, I do that.
when I started walking again, I reinstituted my walking practice. Um, I love to go out and go for a walk and it's beautiful and I loved that feeling. But one of the best parts of it was that I felt good about myself and for myself. I had just given myself this big gift and I was so happy to past me for giving me this thing. And I'm, that again, that emotional reinforcement is so huge. So huge. Yeah.
And you feel better during the rest of the day when you do move your body in the morning. I remember when I would go to the gym in the morning, I felt so good the rest of the day at work. I was so energized. I didn't feel sluggish. I didn't need 4 cups of coffee or an energy drink. I just felt so much better.
Yeah.
And
And I
it's,
do love the idea of going first thing in the morning. I cannot seem to get myself to do that lately, but I do feel like if I go first thing in the morning, if the whole rest of the day goes to crap, I have done one good thing that is productive, and bonus, it was for me. I can go off in the rest of my day and serve the whole rest of the world and give me to all of them. But to start the day with something for me felt sacred, really. It
yeah,
really, yeah.
yeah, I agree.
Awesome. Well, I want to just be cognizant of the time and thank you so much for joining in, and I hope that we have an opportunity to come back and check in on all of the other things coming down the pike. We did sort of venture out into more medical tourism because a lot of the people that I interviewed did have surgery, whether it was bariatrics or plastic surgery in Mexico. So I did have Dr. Illan, bariatric surgeon, on, and then I had Dr. Cardenas, who was my plastic surgeon, had her on. Really great conversations where, kind of busting the myth that it's scary or dangerous or whatever. And now I have kind of gone down more of this path of medical tourism and how we sort of set up these borders that we don't have to have. We can cross borders. We can do what we want to do. We can go outside of what our insurance company tells us or they will pay for, or what our primary care doctor says that we have to do or we don't have to do. We really do have a lot more choices. And so I'm really been interested in exploring that with people, and just how people in other parts of the world approach healthcare and wellness and healing. And so I've got some interviews lined up for folks there too. So anyway, who knows where all of this curiosity will take us.